Okay, so it does look like we have a breaking story today, and that is about the Elon Musk Twitter deal. Now, I was definitely very concerned about this Twitter deal because it's not good to have the richest man on the planet owning, I would say, the most well, arguably the most influential social media platform, especially when it comes to politics. Although Facebook, obviously, in the United States is super, super influential as well. So it's pretty difficult to kind of manage or decide which one is more important. Obviously, pluralism being like, the founding principle of liberalism. But it appears that this Elon Musk Twitter deal is not going as planned. Something is going on that's interesting. It says Elon Musk says Twitter deal, quote, temporarily on hold. As Elon Musk sent Twitter stock on a roller coaster ride early Friday as he claimed that his $44 billion deal to take over the site was temporarily on hold, then insisted hours later that he was still committed to the buyout. Twitter deal temporarily on hold pending details supporting calculation that spam/fake accounts do indeed represent less than 5% of users, the Tesla CEO said in an early Friday tweet at 5:44 a.m. Twitter stock then dipped more than 25% to as low as $33.79 in pre-market trading, far below Musk's marijuana-themed purchase of $54.20, indicating investors were betting the deal would not go through. Then at 7:50 a.m., Musk posted a follow-up tweet saying that he was quote still committed to acquisition. Twitter's shares erased some of their losses and were hovering around $40 shortly before markets were set to open on Friday morning. That's still about 11% lower than where they closed on Thursday. After the first tweet, Wedbush securities analyst Dan Ives estimated that Wall Street investors now see a less than 50% chance that the deal closes. He added that Musk's tweet amounted to a, quote, Twitter circus show, since Wall Street is liable to view this deal as likely falling apart or Musk negotiating for a lower deal price. So it says he estimated that Wall Street investors now see a less than 50% chance that the deal closes. And you can see Elon looking like a straight up sociopath robot here. Wow, this dude looks scary. It says, I've said Musk could be trying to rearrange the financing of the deal so he doesn't have to be relying on leveraged shares of his electric car company, Tesla. Concerns about Musk's Twitter takeover and a broader tech sell-off have sent Tesla shares plummeting 29% over the past month. Alternatively, I've said Musk could simply walk away from the deal and pay a $1 billion breakup fee. Many will view this as Musk using this Twitter filing spam accounts as a way to get out of this deal in a vastly changing market, he said. So, Musk said he wanted to crack down on spam accounts, a bunch of this stuff. Twitter has gotten rid of a bunch of their workers and stuff like that. So, it's not looking good. Something weird is going on here where he sent out this tweet like very early in the morning at like 3 a.m. He sent it out. It says Twitter deal temporarily on hold pending details supporting calculation that spam/fake accounts do indeed represent less than 5% of users. So there are multiple things about this. Is this a genuine thing that he's doing where it's like a worry for him that there's more fake accounts or whatever? I mean, he's talked about how much it is of fake accounts is on Twitter and spam wants to get away. I think there's a lot of fake accounts and spam on Twitter that need to be destroyed as well. It's going to be a really difficult thing to do. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. But it is something that's definitely a big issue. But why is he sending this out? Why is he disclosing this information knowing that it'll impact the deal? Either what's going on, I believe, is he's getting cold feet and is deciding that his deal is simply not worth it. What we can see from Tesla stock is, Tesla stock took a pretty massive dip, went down. In the past month, it's down almost 22%. And I forget what day. I think it was something like 10 days ago or something like that. But it had gone down from, like 900 or 950 down to like 728, or now it's at 770. So it's actually bounced back a little bit, quite a bit right there between Thursday, May 12th and Friday, May 13th. But that wipes out a bunch of Elon Musk's net worth, although, stock changes are so volatile. And so his net worth is going to, his net worth can slide like 20 billion pretty easily just from like, a $200 stock price reduction, because that's where his money is, right? He doesn't have cold hard cash. He has net worth in the form of stocks in his business, Tesla. And Twitter stock took a huge plunge here, as you can see, went down from 45 down to 40 between Thursday and Friday. Thursday, May 12th, Friday, May 13th, because of course investors are going to pull out if they believe that Elon Musk is not going to be purchasing it. This is how it works in economics and whatnot, and the idea that the deal is going to fall through, and so investors are saying, we're good. We don't think that this is a good deal. Also, he could be attempting to renegotiate his deal with Twitter. So he could be trying to leverage them into a position where they have to sell it at a cheaper price to him. So that's another option. It says Elon Musk can't just walk away from his Twitter deal by paying a $1 billion breakup fee. Elon Musk can't just walk away from his deal to acquire Twitter by paying an agreed-upon $1 billion breakup fee. It's not that simple. Honestly, if it were just a $1 billion breakup fee, I think based on all of the issues going on with how the Twitter deal has impacted him, and I'm not really sure how the Twitter deal impacts him long-term, but I would say that, honestly, it depends on the way you're looking at it. I think maybe in the short term, with all the backlash and the stocks and all that stuff, it would be worth it for the $1 billion. But if you are like a really wealthy businessman and you're in control of arguably the most influential social media platform, it would definitely be worth whatever is going on right now. To be able to continue to control narratives and control the social media platform that you then own, right? And so the only way that kind of thing would be stopped, I would assume, would be government intervention. I don't know what other way there would be. And so if you own a platform like Twitter and you're a wealthy businessman, you can use that to your leverage by banning people who say bad stuff about your product. You can set up algorithms to prioritize your product. You can take away trends, take down trends that are critical of your thing. So I think that would be worth whatever loss he's going to take. But in terms of like this short-term backlash, the $1 billion breakup fee would definitely be worth it. But it appears he can't just do that. He can't just pull out now. It says Musk tweeted Friday he has decided to put his acquisition of Twitter on hold as he researches whether the amount of fake/spam accounts on Twitter is actually just 5% as the company has long claimed. He followed that tweet with another reiterating that he is still committed to the acquisition. He said still committed to the acquisition. So that indicates that he's obviously trying to keep investors calm, not completely tank Twitter, but it also does indicate the likelihood towards the idea that he's attempting to renegotiate a lower Twitter price. That's what it really seems to indicate. It says, but he risks a lawsuit from Twitter for breach of contract that cost the world's wealthiest person many billions of dollars. Musk and Twitter agreed to a so-called reverse termination fee of $1 billion when the two sides reached a deal last month. Still, the breakup fee isn't an option, the payment that allows Musk to bail without consequence. A reverse breakup fee paid from a buyer to a target applies when there's an outside reason a deal can't close, such as regulatory intermediation or third-party financing concerns. A buyer can also walk if there's fraud, assuming the discovery of incorrect information has a so-called material adverse effect. A market dip like the current sell-off that has caused Twitter to lose more than $9 billion in market cap wouldn't count as a valid reason for Musk to cut loose, breakup fee or no breakup fee, according to a senior M&A lawyer familiar with the matter. So basically what I think would happen in that situation, as it explains here, is like he would be forced in court to still continue his purchase. He can't breach his contract of purchase. He would have to buy it at some price, maybe at a little bit of a lower price. What I am curious, though, is since it says a buyer can walk away if there's fraud, if Twitter claimed that spam and bots were less than 5% of the user base, but it's found that it actually is like 15 or 20 or 25, would that be considered fraud? You would have to do like an investigation, I guess, into where they got their numbers. Was it just a guesstimation? That is a little interesting loophole that I don't know. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. It'd be interesting to see, but it doesn't appear that this is something that, is explained whether or not that kind of a thing could be. Could you consider that as fraud, and then he could just get away with paying the $1 billion? I'm not sure. But it seems like, this also explains that he's attempting to, trying to bring down the price that he paid for Twitter. And you guys know that he actually had part of the funding for this deal was like a $12.5 billion margin loan on Tesla stock. So, I don't have like too great of an understanding of margin loans, but my understanding is it's basically a loan you take out and you give as collateral. You give your Tesla stock, $12.5 billion in Tesla stock, which basically means if I can't pay back this loan, you can seize $12.5 billion worth of Tesla stock, just the way that houses are collateral in a loan that is given out to someone who's purchasing a house. The deal essentially is that the house is collateral. So if you can't pay back the loan, you have to give up the house as collateral. So he's getting rid of that. There is an article up here. It says Musk 50 had originally teed up a $12.5 billion margin loan as part of his $44 billion deal to buy Twitter. That was halved to $6.25 billion after he disclosed $7.1 billion in equity commitments from investors, including Larry Ellison, Sequoia Capital, Qatar Holding, and Saudi Prince Al Walid bin Talal, with the latter rolling his Twitter stock into the deal. So we got some really kind of shady characters here, like the Saudi Prince. I hope that's not something that's going to impact the decisions of Twitter as a social media platform. That would be pretty. That would be pretty problematic. You got like a huge human rights abuser, huge human rights violator, having some pretty heavy control mechanisms or control influence over Twitter, which is where people go to voice their opinions about something like Saudi Arabian, human rights violations. So obviously that's not a good thing. But I think he's doing this because I think that margin loan, putting your Tesla stock as collateral, is not a good look. I guess. So I guess investors, that's part of the reason why Tesla stock was tanking. So I guess that's why he's doing it. But I would say most likely in this situation, he's likely trying to negotiate the Twitter price down. But I'm not going to rule out the idea that he's straight up just trying to pull out. But he's trying to pull out too late, though. Like, you can't pull out this late. The only loophole I could see him potentially finding is if he's actually able to find that, it wasn't 5%, it's like 25. And even in that scenario, I don't know whether that would count as fraud or not, unless you could find like malintent. But I'm not sure. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a business acquisition attorney. So I don't know whether or not that would qualify as fraud. But, interesting to see. Hopefully the deal does not go through. That's my hope, that somebody puts a stop to the deal. Because, again, the foundation principle of, liberalism is pluralism, having a bunch of different people fighting each other over for power. But if, like, 10 people own everything, there's not really much fighting of any power going on. And I know Elon Musk has situated himself as the new cool cat with the electric cars, which, the electric cars are cool, right? It's good for the environment. But at the same time, he puts himself against oil tycoons and stuff like that. So he comes off as the cool guy, the cool new kid on the block. But these things that he is doing are not good. Power consolidation amongst a very small group under any circumstances is bad. This is one of the issues that ends up arising with capitalism, is if everything is dictated by money, and you have a government which is necessitated by capitalism, because you can't have capitalism if you don't have a government that provides property rights. If you don't have a monopoly on force protecting property, there is no capitalism, because you don't actually own anything. Someone can just take your stuff. That's not good. It ends up leading to these kinds of, plutocracies and these kinds of things that we're seeing right now. The rich already run the country, but it's getting way, way worse. Jeff Bezos buying up, Washington Post is also horrible, for example. So, we need to separate these kinds of powers. You need to have rich people not owning our news and social media platforms. It needs to be different people owning that. And then you need to have different people owning different businesses. Those people need to have more, diversified assets in them as well. Workers should own more of the stock of the business as well. And so that's what we should be working towards. And again, to reiterate, it's unfortunate to see that corporate consolidation has become so damn common. Nowadays, it's just accepted as just a fact of life. Like, hey, it is what it is. When corporate consolidation is literally the death of capitalism itself.